Hey, it's Brock from Biker's Edge. Today we're out here riding and reviewing the new 2022 Santa Cruz Bronson. This year it's back with 150, 160 travel, but mullet wheel size. Let's get into it. All right, this year the Bronson is a 150 rear travel, 160 front travel, 27.5 rear wheel, 29 front wheel mixed wheel set that is slack. It's aggressive, 64.5 degree head angle, but a really fun, playful bike. Let's get into it. Let's talk about climbing aboard this Bronson. Geometry-wise, I feel in a great pedaling position on this. It's got a nice steep seat tube angle that I really feel I'm over the top of the pedals, and it's just efficient. I think one of the worries with the big slack head angle is that you get the front end wandering. I'm not wheeling, keeping the wheel on the ground. I would say the front wheel's getting lighter, but I don't think that's inhibiting or causing any issues to where I want the bike to go. It pedals well. I rarely use lockout on the rear shock. I'm totally open right now, and I like that because it keeps the wheel on the ground, keeps better traction. But I'm looking down and I don't notice any bobbing or any real wasted energy. So this bike is coming spec'd with Minions front and rear. So DHF 2.5 front and a DHR 2.4 rear. You know, if that's something that's a concern, I think swapping an aggressor on the back may be a good option. There's many tires out there that could potentially lighten this, but as we get into kind of this wooded area, this will kind of break down the techie climbing of this bike. So we got a short little punchy incline here with some rocks. Back tire hit a couple of the rocks. I don't feel like it hung up or anything like that. So carries quite a bit of momentum through these things. Again, no bobbing or getting rattled around, anything like that. It has traction. It picks up these small bumps well, and the bike just keeps moving forward. I'm not feeling like I'm getting hung up or slowed down even on any of this. So I think a big thing that's helping this climb well is just the seat tube. I'm really over the top of the bike, seated in a good position. Got enough weight on the handlebars to keep it down. So to recap kind of the climbing characteristics on the fire road with the baby heads and stuff, it feels efficient. I really don't feel like I'm wasting energy due to the suspension not bobbing. It works. It doesn't get hung up on rocks. Geometry on climbing, it's got a great seat tube angle, keeps the rider really on top of the bike, which keeps the front end weighted, and really the front end isn't wandering. Overall, on this bike, I wouldn't hesitate to take this on a big day, 20, 30 miles, to come down some really gnarly stuff. It pedals really well for a big bike. Definitely look forward to spending more time on this bike. Really enjoying it. All right, so this morning we are out here testing the new 2022 Santa Cruz Bronson. So a couple quick highlights: 64.5 degree head angle, 150 millimeters rear travel, 160 front, and mixed wheel set. That is going to be the biggest difference today. And for those of you that don't know, mixed wheel set is Mullet. 29 front, 27.5 rear. Other thing is I've never ridden this section of trail. Blind on a brand new bike. Couple things geometry wise. This is pretty slack, 64.5 degree head angle. And then the other thing with the mixed wheel set, you get that 27.5 out back, which makes it, keeps the rear end a little bit shorter. It feels really lively. Like I said, I haven't ridden this section of trail. There's some gnarly spots and I feel like I can just put this bike wherever I want. So a couple advantages to that smaller wheel out back are going to be keeps the chain stays shorter, and acceleration's going to improve a little bit because you can, that rear wheel's going to spin up a little bit better, and then you've got that big wheel out front to kind of drag you around. All right, so suspension feel. Santa Cruz is using the VPP on this. It's kind of their standard. So far, I mean, I've had a couple big hits. It feels really good. I'm a fan of Santa Cruz bikes. I've owned several, ridden a bunch of them. It feels really plush. So off the top, I mean, it feels nice and good. Yet getting into the travel, I mean, I think plush is kind of my word. On the little spots where you need traction, you need that to go. Almost just crashed. It feels supportive. I think as I bounce in that mid-stroke, my first thoughts are I'm probably going through the mid-stroke. But like I mentioned in the bottom out, I mean, the bottom out just feels really good. All right, so kind of overall thoughts and impressions on geometry for the descent is I really like the slack head angle. There's a couple spots back there where you got a little, kind of little holes and stuff that I grab the front wheel, and that geometry just keeps you rolling through it. A couple little steep sections with drop-offs on the back going through rocks and stuff. That 64.5 degree head angle feels really good. So one thing that's kind of unique is I'm just able to put this bike right where I want it. I think that's a little unusual for myself when I ride 29ers, but I'm able to just kind of last second plant this wheel wherever I want. So riding a bike with a mullet, I've ridden mullets over the last 6 months, riding the Santa Cruz Bullet e-bike that's also a mullet, and then did a trip down to southern Utah with a 5010 that I had made some changes to and ran that mullet for the weekend. I think one of the highlighting facts is there's something going on in the rear end, that's a 27.5 rear wheel, that makes it just feel really nimble. That rear wheel is just really light and easy to move around and put where you want. Go exactly where you want on this trail. This is a big bike. 150 rear, 160 front. And to me, I'm still really surprised at how light and agile this really feels. I think beforehand I kind of assumed this bike to be a real bruiser. That it would be kind of a point and shoot bike and just hang on. And so far what I'm feeling is quite the opposite of that. Carrying a lot of speed, kind of able to scrub off of things. But overall, it just feels really fun and playful, like a Bronson should. Uphill's great, downhill is where it really shines. It's got really good geometry. You can kind of just hang on, hit the hard stuff. But the thing that I love about it is it's just playful. You know, if I want to cruise and pop off of something, it just does it well. It really maintains a lot of the 27 5-wheel characteristics, like the 5010 or the previous generation Bronson. It just kind of cruises really well. You know, we get into some rough stuff here, keep the wheels on the ground, does it well. So previous Bronson owners, 5010 riders, people that love high towers. I mean, this is kind of a mix of all of the above bikes with the mixed wheel set and the playfulness, but still being able to charge really hard on it. You know, the other thing too is if that's not your riding style and you're more of a keep it on the ground, we can do that too. Oh, it feels so plush. You know, I'm not jumping through there and just hanging on. Really picking up speed well. Come through this section. And then you want to jump. Jump. Oh my gosh. Here it is. Yeah, you should all try to ride this bike and tell me you didn't like it. All right, so today's ride was up in Little Cottonwood Canyon, just east of Salt Lake City, and very impressed by this bike. This trail overall is a little rocky. I mean, we would call this here along the Wasatch Front a technical trail, and not having ridden part of the trail, this bike felt really natural right off of the bat. It was really playful, really easy to maneuver, and really agile, which was kind of surprising for me. I didn't expect that. I expected it to kind of be more of a bruiser. Extremely playful. I'm really excited to get some more time on this bike. Yeah, I think this bike is really for anyone. It's for the people that enjoy the playful bike. It's for the people that enjoy the serious bike that are just kind of hanging on to it and letting it do its thing. I rode it kind of with both mentalities in mind, and it really shined. One of the worries that I had was that this would kind of lose the fun playfulness of the 27.5-inch wheel that is found on the previous gen Bronson, the 5010, which I really enjoy, and it maintained that while feeling faster. I think this bike is for someone that generally rides shorter travel bikes but wants to get into the bigger travel bikes and still maintain that playful, poppy feeling. On the flip side of that, I think if you're used to riding high towers, mega towers, you know, anything big, this is a good change because it is a lot more playful than a lot of those bigger bikes are. So I really think that you're gonna have a hard time not liking this bike. Thanks for sticking around and watching our review today. Come stop by Biker's Edge if you want to check one of these out.